Hello, it's me again. Thank you so much for responding back to me and watching my first video. I appreciate it a lot. So, here is about my immigration. I moved here when I was 20 years old by myself, um, without like papers. I got papers, but I lost them right away. So, without English, like friends or like any support, and without money. It was quite challenging and pretty tough. But I knew what I was like signing up for. Like one of the toughest memory, I think, like strong memories when my parents were driving me to the airport, um, and I knew that I'm going to fly and I'm not going to come back to Russia. And while we were driving, I was thinking, what if we get in a car accident and my parents would be badly injured? What would I do? Would I stay there to help them and call the ambulance, but I will miss my flight and might not be able to go to United States ever? Or I would just leave them behind and fly away. And just by having that thought, I I didn't like that thought, that I even thinking about those things. And I knew that I cannot stay in Russia, and I knew that at the same time I love my mom so much, and it would be very hard for me to be separated. Um, so when I moved here later, they didn't get in car accidents, so I got to the plane. I didn't have to choose between uh, in that moment. So when I got here, the whole like immigration experience was very comedic when I look back at it, but at the same time, when I was going through it, it was extremely challenging and scary sometimes, and tough and sad. So I moved to New York first, and then almost right away, in a few months, I went to Los Angeles. And in Russia, we don't have sober houses, so I was looking online for a place to stay, and I didn't know what sober house is, and I didn't speak much of the English. So I saw just like very cheap place, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna move there. So when I get there, it was a sober house, and everyone there is like on parole, or drug addict, or drunk, and somehow they let me in. And here I am, like 20 years old, like nice Russian guy who like makes his own bed and nice to everyone. It was pretty extreme situation for me, and very interesting because I never been around those kind of people. But they were pretty nice to me. They would share their food with me and give me some pot even, and taught me some English. So later, it was 2008, so there was financial crisis and there was no jobs for even American people. And here I am trying to find a job. So I didn't find a job, and I didn't have any money to pay for the sober house too, and I needed a place to stay. So I went online. I used to go to library for the internet because I didn't have a laptop or anything. So I go to library, went to library and started researching on a Craigslist, like any rent situations or any jobs. And I saw the ad, free rent. So I reached out to a guy and I said like, hey, um, I need a place to stay. Is there still place for me to be at your house? And he said, sure. He said, I'll pick you up at 2 p.m. or something, like tomorrow. I went back to my sober house and I said, hey guys, I'm moving out, and I'm moving to Watts. The guy looked at me and he said, are you crazy? You're not moving to Watts. It's very dangerous. It's a ghetto. And I didn't understand what ghetto is because in Russia there is no ghettos. It's everywhere pretty homogenic, pretty bad everywhere. And here in the States, you have like zones. You know, there's a ghetto, there is a like Beverly Hills. In Russia, we have like Beverly Hills zone, but there is no ghetto. So he explained it to me that you don't want to be there. It's very dangerous, but I didn't listen because I kind of didn't understand. And next day, I got there at the station, and this guy, he was very tall and from Midwest, like big, like buff, like kind of not buff, but has extra weight guy, and he literally can like smack me and I will die. So he picks me up in the car, and on the front seat there is a Mexican guy sitting and kind of looking sketchy. So I'm thinking to myself, I think they're going to kill me and sell me for organs or something. So I got scared, but I'm keeping it cool and just breathing and like, hey guys, yeah, everything is good. So the guy said that the Mexican guy is going to clean the apartment because it's quite dirty, and later, because I'm staying for free, I can clean the apartment too. I'm like, sure. So I get to the house, and literally there are blood stains on the wall. And it's kind of everything is kind of broken, and there's powder on the carpet, and it looks scary. And I'm thinking to myself, I think I'm going to die tonight. He said, here is your room, you can go to your room. So I found a hammer. I put a hammer under my pillow. I texted my friend in San Diego. I had a friend from Russia in San Diego, and I said, hey buddy, so here's the address. If I'm not going to text you tomorrow, I might be dead or there's something wrong with me, so please call the police. So I put a hammer under the pillow. I went to sleep, so I was thinking if they're gonna attack me, I can fight back with a hammer or somehow protect myself. So next day I woke up and nobody killed me. And I was like, wow, that's strange. And turned out that the guy who let me stay there, Joe, he's just a super nice guy, and he tries to help people. And he used to be in prison himself, and after that experience, he decided like he wants to help people out. And there were a bunch of people who stayed with him before, like me, like actually Russian people too. And then I became actually a friend with one of the guys, because he still stay in contact with those people because he helped them out. So I stayed with him for a while, and it was kind of amazing experience, you know, and funny and scary at the same time. So when I moved here, there were a bunch of those experiences, and yeah, it was pretty crazy. Now I got actually my papers and I learn English, and everything is pretty awesome, and I'm doing acting too, so it's amazing. I think the hardest part to be an immigrant is to be away from your family and realizing that there is no one here to help you except yourself, and you cannot. There is no like safety net, because like if I won't succeed or if I won't work, I will have to go on the street. There's no one there. And in Russia, I always could rely on my family. Here, I couldn't. And it is extremely tough because I miss my mom a lot. And first 6 years, I was waiting for my papers, to get my papers. My mom couldn't travel and couldn't come here, and I couldn't travel outside the country. And that was extremely challenging for me. I remember her coming to JFK, and I went to New York to see her after she haven't seen me for 6 years, and she literally jumped at me, started crying, and hugged me and touched me, and she's like, "Oh, you're alive! I love you so much," and and that uh, sorry, that stuff, you know, um, when you don't see your family, I think that is the toughest experience for me, to be an immigrant. Um, but now she can travel, and it's pretty easy. Although now with Trump and what's going on, you don't know what's going to happen. Hopefully, it will be good. Um, so that's that. And also, I grew up in an immigrant family in Russia too, because we moved from Tajikistan, which is former Soviet Union, to Kaliningrad. It's a western part of Russia, and our family was pretty Central Asian by the standards. We had different food and different names. My name is Daniyar, so it's not very Russian. I always felt very different, and the funny part, my grandma would say like, "Don't you ever marry a Russian woman because they hate Tatar, some Tatar," and being like in Russia and being told by your family that Russians are hostile to the rest of the rest of population or to Tatars, it was kind of crazy. I never believed in it, and I still had like great Russian friends, but I never felt I was part of Russian because I wasn't, and it was very interesting to be that. Here there are like bunch of different funny stories. Usually it's like connected with the food because Russian food is awesome, and I enjoy like herring or caviar. It's one of my favorite food. And for like New Year's Eve, I would bring the salads, like herring under the coat. It's a Russian salad with herring, a fish, and it has unique taste. But if you grow up eating it, it's tastes delicious, and I love it. So I would bring the food to American parties, and nobody would eat it except me. So I think that is pretty funny. Or like we put caviar on a baguette, you know, French bread and with butter. And I remember nobody would eat it, and I'm like, damn, are you crazy? That's like the best meal in Russia. It's expensive too, so I would eat it all by myself, and being kind of sad. Um, yeah, when I made herring under the coat, it took me 4 hours to make it, and I felt pretty sad when literally no one would touch it. One guy would like taste it, and he's like, "Oh, that's kind of interesting," and he would leave, and I'm like, "Oh shit, nobody likes it," and it took so long to make it. I would rather next time should buy it or something. So that is my immigration experience, both sad and extremely challenging. I think someone told me that there are two the most difficult things in life. It's to experience is one of them is death of close one, like a family member or um, like parent, and the other one is an immigration. So yeah, it was pretty tough, but I made it through, and I'm pretty happy I did. Thank you. If you have any other questions, uh, please let me know. I'm very excited about this project, so looking forward hearing back from you. Bye.